Okay, Miss.
Wait, I
Okay,
wasn't
but
ready for that.
I wasn't ready for that. But we're gonna have to change that last picture because all that gray hair that was
Listen, that's
showing.
the first thing I said.
We're gonna have to change that last one. But that was incredible. Oh my gosh,
So,
you're so
thank
pretty.
you.
You're
Oh,
you're
you're
so
so
pretty.
pretty.
I love you. How you
Oh,
doing?
I'm tired.
Oh,
I ran home from work.
girl,
And,
yes.
hey,
I'm
this
feeling
is
it.
what you get. Hey, I put my t-shirt on.
Oh,
T.
oh, hey, it's T.
Put my t-shirt on.
I couldn't find a shirt, so I just put on whatever sweater I could find. Because to be honest with you, I haven't changed out of my pajama bottoms.
We
It's been
wouldn't
one of
know
those
if you
days.
didn't tell us. We wouldn't know.
Exactly. But I'm very, 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 very honest with our audience. Very honest.
Welcome
So
to Mentali-Tea.
welcome, welcome. We got our tea.
What you
What is
sipping? What you
your
sipping?
Oh, what am I sipping? Okay. It's really good. It is Rishi Elderberry Healer.
Oh, you fancy.
Oh, I know. It's so fancy. It's got organic ginger root, organic elderberries, organic hibiscus flowers, and organic licorice root. It's supposed to be like an immune boosting tea. And it's
We
very
can all use
just,
more of that.
yes, and it's very, warm and comforting and healing. What about
Okay.
you? What you drinking?
I am
What's your tea?
drinking. Tonight's selection is
Oh, yogi
Yogi.
tea.
Where's the? Here we go. Yogi stress relief. It
Okay.
is honey lavender. I'm not reading the
Ooh.
ingredients. I didn't know we were doing that. Um,
You don't have to. Mine had like four, so I was like, well,
honey
whatever.
lavender stress relief, and I got to show off my mug
What does your mug
too.
say?
My mug says, "God is within her; she will not fall."
Amen.
Psalm 46 and
Amen.
5. So this was a gift from. That's all. The gift from that.
Mm. Oh, I know exactly what we're talking about.
That's
Got
a
it.
gift.
That's the tea.
That's the real tea. It's the after show.
The
After
real
show
tea. That's
conversation.
right.
So that
That's the
was a
one we don't
gift.
talk about right now.
So every week,
Well, that's
oh,
good.
every show. I'm sorry. Every show you'll see a different tea, a different mug. I almost pulled out the reindeer mug. Why is it snowing?
Listen,
Why? Why? Why?
I
I
don't
need
know.
somebody
Because
to explain
Mother
to me.
Nature's mental health needs to be
We all need a
checked.
little help. We
Yeah,
all
we
need a
need
little
to let
help.
shit. Mother Nature is not excluded from that. That's for sure.
Mm-mm. Oh, my tea bag says, "Be kind to others, but
Oh,
always be compassionate to yourself."
wise words. Those
Mm-mm.
yogi teas are very delicious, and they always have these really nice sayings on them. The yogi teas.
They do. I gotta be careful with the yogi tea. I told you what happened, right? You remember what happened? Okay.
Was that with the
Some of
yogi
those,
tea?
that was the yogi tea.
Oh, that was yes.
Some of these ingredients. Our body's not used to all this licorice
It's
roots and bark
it's true. Oh
bark and
God.
tree branches and all this other stuff. And I had a reaction
Oh
to one of the
yes.
yogi teas, and I didn't realize it until a month later. It was like, maybe it was the tea. Sure enough,
Sure enough.
stopped drinking it, and there was no problem. I was walking around like, what's
What's
his
going on?
name? This is
Like all
yeah. So
itchy
you gotta
like
be
what?
careful. Be careful with those ingredients. You don't know
See,
your body. You ain't never
that is
drunk
why I
licorice
read
bark
my
until the
ingredients.
pandemic. It wasn't
Right.
until the pandemic we started drinking roots and berries and
That is
moss.
so true. That's
Y'all
so
ever
true
drinking
because
moss?
I do you know that at one point it was really hard to find anything with elderberry during the pandemic
Yes.
because everyone was saying, "Oh, take that elderberry, it's good for your immune system."
Elderberry, turmeric, sea moss.
Yes.
You
And
couldn't find it all of a sudden, and you
right.
never put it on your lips ever
Mm-mm.
until
Mm-mm.
2020. And your lips
Oh,
said,
hold
"What
on.
is that? What's that?"
Clearly my dogs want to get in on the podcast
They
too.
want some
Hey,
tea.
y'all need to calm down. Yeah, I know. We want some of that elderberry tea, mama.
They want some tea. You say, who said licorice?
Oh, so welcome to Mentali-Tea, y'all, our premiere of our mental health podcast that, I've been so excited for. We've been talking about it for a while.
Wow.
And now here we are. And I love it.
Mm.
So I think I touched on it a little. If you didn't see Sippin' and Trippin' last night, please go watch that episode. It's just the best. And
They need some of this stress relief. That's what they
yes, they
need.
do. They do.
Ah,
Yes,
that's right, Bryson. Yes,
they do
they
want to
got
talk about their mental
concerned.
health. They do.
Oh
They
my
do. They've
goodness.
been just as cooped up. But so what
What's
what
our
we touched
theme?
on,
What's our theme?
our theme is, so this month was self-harm awareness month. Self-harm, self-injury awareness month. So we are going to talk about that. And we are going to touch on a couple of other things because last month was Eating Disorder Awareness Month. And for some of us, or some of you watching that don't know, I am a recovered anorexic. So it's definitely very near and dear to me. And, doing my research and finding how eating disorders and self-injury, self-harm behavior kind of intertwine. And then yesterday was World Bipolar Day. So we're going to talk about that. So we got lots to talk about. It's heavy. It's heavy stuff, you guys, but we're jumping right in because why not?
It is.
Right.
It is. Well, if you got the flyer, or if you saw the flyer, it says self-care isn't selfish. And your
Oh,
worth
yes,
is
you wanted to talk about
everything.
that.
Self-care isn't selfish. So we hear this term all the time, and we've heard it even more over the last 2 years or so. But we have to be really careful when we put self in front of anything, because we'll put self in front of anything. But self-care isn't selfish. So that was that's what we were throwing around on social media. So we love to hear your thoughts. If you want to drop something in the chat, and we will get to them as time allows. If you have any thoughts about our theme or any of these holidays, please, this is a conversation. We're chatting with tea. So if you're drinking tea, you're sipping tea, hey, tell us what you're sipping. Okay, what is this mug?
So I'm a big Disney head. I love Disney. And Chip and Dale are Dale, really. He's my favorite chipmunk. I love my chipmunk boys, but Dale's my favorite. And I like, I've been in a little funk, and so this mug kind of brings a smile to my face. And so
I know some other Chippendales that bring smiles to faces.
That's not my cup of tea, though.
Oh, I mean, not, you made me think about it because, they have a show that's on right now.
Oh, God.
The Chippendale murders.
Oh, well.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That's another conversation. It's another show.
Again, that's another show. We might have to bring that to the after hours.
Bryson says she has H2O. Very good. That's self-care. Drinking water is a part of self-care.
Absolutely. You got to stay hydrated.
Absolutely. I think I had half a bottle of water today. Half. And I had maybe 32 ounces of Propel. Does that count as water?
That does. That counts.
Well, I'm doing well, and I got 2 cups of tea right here. Okay, we are doing all right.
Yeah.
Got some water in my shake this morning. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think the Propel counts because I think there's electrolytes in there. So
I most certainly hope so because it was a giant bottle.
Are we talking about the Rescue Rangers?
I was talking about the
I was talking about the Rescue Rangers,
but the dancers. She's
talking about I was talking about
dancers. She mentioned it. It's a show on. Comes on right after.
Who says this Chippendales don't dance right here? Come on,
That's a whole different kind of dancing. I don't know. I don't know about that. But anywho,
Anywho, so what? So, oh my gosh. So, self injury, self harm. Tell
yeah, I
us
noticed
about it,
they
Miss
changed the
Angel.
name. I noticed they changed the name for that.
Hmm.
And it's always been called self harm, and in most recent years, they've changed it to self injury.
Hmm.
So many components into that. What I can give you are signs and symptoms. That's what I can give you. I know Crissy has some more heavy stats on that there.
Oof. Girl, I listen. I
You didn't
it
fall
was a
down the
lot.
rabbit hole, did you?
I did. I I
Mm.
I started to. I had to stop because I was like, "Oh, there." And it's just the weird thing is we have an awareness month, but it's not. I don't ever see it talked about.
Okay.
Rarely, rarely. So
Mhm.
when we bring up these stats and the symptoms and the signs and everything, wow.
Yeah, pretty interesting. The one thing that I wanted to mention before I talk about signs, most people, when they hear the term self harm or self injury, they connect it directly to suicide. That's first. So if they,
Mm.
find out somebody is self harming or self injuring themselves, it is automatically assumed or presumed that they're suicidal, and that's not necessarily the case. A lot of the information that I've read or studied basically says it's a way to keep from doing it. So they'll use self harm or self injury to avoid suicide. That was another rabbit hole to go down. But here
Yes.
are some ways, some
Yeah.
ways and some signs. If you know anybody or if you suspect they might be self injuring themselves, and a lot of these signs that I found were very similar to abuse victims.
Interesting.
Whether it's physical abuse or sexual abuse, it was very similar to a lot of the sexual abuse training I did for young people.
And
Um,
you know what I
First,
read too
mhm,
that is usually the group of people who've experienced trauma like that, childhood trauma, whether it was sexual abuse or anything like that, who tend to self injure themselves. But
okay, okay. So if you see someone that is wearing concealing clothing out of season, that's something that would be an eye opener for someone who is self harming as well as someone who might be being abused. They have on long sleeves and it's 90 degrees outside. If they're wearing pants in the summer, if they have on jackets or coats or hoodies that they never take off, it's quite possible that they might be hiding scars or
yeah,
bruises or other injuries, cuts or marks or bandages regularly. It's one thing to have someone that's accident prone or maybe a little clumsy, but if they always have marks, they always have bruises, they always have bandages or something covering them up. Specifically on arms, it's a fight. It's a fight. Specifically on arms, thighs, or stomach. That was really interesting to me because those are areas that we can conceal. You wear long sleeves, you wear shirts. Nobody's looking at your thighs if you have on pants. So that was pretty interesting. If they are carrying around sharp objects, they have pieces of glass, they have razors, they have knives in their bags, in their pockets, in their purses. Why? Any place that's outside of the kitchen is a red flag. They have knives in their room or pieces of broken metal in their room and drawers under the pillow, things like that. Body changes, meaning extreme weight loss or extreme weight gain. Also, things to look for. Missing medications in the house. So if you're an adult and you have a young person and all of a sudden you can't find your pills, it might be a situation where they are taking your medications or using your medications. So those were some of the signs and symptoms that I've heard about or studied over the years that you can look for. Bryson has a question I wanted to. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Okay, that was in response to what I said when we opened the show with the theme self care is not selfish. We by nature can be extremely selfish, and I think some of some of the chaos and the frustration with the pandemic has given people excuses to do what they want, say what they want. You only live once. YOLO. You only live once. And I said we had to be careful or at least tread lightly, that we are not abusing our relationships with other people in the name of what is this meme with Lucius and Cookie from Empire? I gotta put me first. Lucius,
Yeah.
I gotta put me first. Yes, yes, there are times when you need to put you first. Yes, yes, there are. But there's an attitude that comes with it. It's
Mhm.
one thing if we are preserving, we're refreshing, we're trying to make sure, we have everything that we need and that our tank is full so that we can pour out. It's another thing where you just gonna hide away and get money. I'm stacking bills. I'm trying to get the bag, and nobody can get in my way. Does that make sense? Does that help with what I said?
It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. But um,
We just
so
go
you,
too far sometimes. That's what it
I
is.
mean, it's true. It's true. It we do. Um, but self care meaning uh actual self care, not drowning your sorrows in a bottle of bourbon. That's not self care.
That's self-medicating.
That's self medicating. Some people will say it's self care.
Well, it's not
That's
medication.
not self care. That is self medicating. That is, yeah. But to your back to your symptoms and signs. So um, it's interesting because my youngest daughter is in fifth grade, and just about a month or so ago, one of her classmates have brought a knife to school, and she was self injuring herself.
Mm,
And she had the
fifth
marks on
grade.
her arm. Fifth grade, so that's 11 years old. So it's really sad to see that kids that young, but it has no age, right? It doesn't. There's no like once you turn this age, then self injury. So which brings me to the statistics here. The average age of the first incident of self harm is 13.
Mm.
That is the average age. 45% of people use cutting as their method of self injury, which correlates with what you said. And about 50% of people seek help for their self harm, but only from friends instead of professionals.
Mm.
So, and then
What
about
do your friends gonna
17%
tell
of
you?
all people will self harm during their lifetime. But I find that interesting that they'll go to their friends instead of professionals because, yes, if your first average age of your first time you're injuring yourself is 13, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
you're going to call the therapist yourself. You know what I mean? So it's just that it starts young. Um, from what I read from statistics, self injury does not typically won't start in adulthood. It starts in adolescence, in adolescent
But
years.
I do know adults who have regressed back into self harm or self injury as adults after many years of being recovered from it. So that's a whole nother conversation. But
Yeah.
even if it starts as a young person, teen, adolescent, and they move past that, it's quite possible. that it will reappear
Mhm.
at other stressful times in their life where they
Oh,
can't,
absolutely.
find other ways to cope. They go back to those old coping mechanisms that they never
Absolutely.
initially had help from. I can see why someone that age would not bring that to even a parent
Right.
because you would more likely not be received well.
No.
Especially if it's a parent who doesn't know anything about it, never experienced
Mhm.
anything like that, or is not familiar with it. It
Mhm.
could be the immediate assumption again that this is somebody who's suicidal.
Right.
You or they're doing it for attention
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Because
versus
when I
that
Mhm.
something traumatic has going on that they need
Absolutely.
to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was going through my eating disorder in high school, I got that from my whole family. Oh, you're just doing it for attention. Okay, sure. If that's what you want to think, we'll
Mm.
go with it. But um, yeah, I mean, looking at the other statistics, I found that adolescents have the highest rate of self-injurious behaviors. And then it goes to college students. So yeah. And then when I read about adults, that only 5% of adults have self-injured in their lifetime. So I'm thinking,
You said 5%.
hmm, yeah. So it just seems to be the teen college age that where it's more prominent, and you know, and sexual minorities, so our gay and bisexual um, community are also at a very high risk to self-injure.
Mhm.
Um, and the highest hospitalization rates. Can you guess which
Mm.
ethnicity, which group of people had the highest hospitalization rate
I don't want to guess.
for self
I
injury?
just tell me. I don't want to guess. I'm gonna guess in my
The
mind, and then
Okay, American Indian, Alaska Native, so our
I was
indigenous,
so wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Absolutely
our
wrong about that.
indigenous. Yeah.
Mm. Social
So
media is
social.
addicting. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The suicide rates have not dropped. They have risen exponentially in the last 2 years, but they have been consistently rising. I remember when I first started working in suicide prevention, Illinois was, I think it was 11. It was the 11th leading cause of death, and now it's 10. We're going the wrong way.
We're
We're
going the
going in the
wrong
wrong
way.
direction. We're going in the wrong direction, and I think most
Absolutely.
states, we're experiencing the same thing. And in the last 2 years, specifically, those rates have gone up even more so. Um, I love what was the documentary we talked about before, The Social Dilemma. If you get a chance to watch The Social Dilemma, it really makes the connection between mental health and social media and that
Hmm.
that thumb that thumb and that heart and that like button and how it affects our young people,
Listen.
wanting to be accepted and wanting to be acknowledged. So that we haven't even gotten to the watch list or the recommendation list,
Oh
but the
yeah,
social
that's on
dilemma,
there.
go watch the social
Yeah.
dilemma. All of
I'm.
these
Yeah.
creators of these platforms talk about how it was never designed to do that. The
Right.
thumb was never designed to, be
Right.
what it has become today. I know people who will post something, and if nobody's liked it in the hour, they'll delete it.
Hmm.
They'll delete it and they'll repost it a couple of hours later because they're not going to leave something up. Adults, they're not going to leave a post up that doesn't have any likes on it.
Like I could tell you,
Wow.
so I have a 16-year-old. For those of you who don't know, I have a 16-year-old, and I
Whew.
think she might be in the room next. But anyway, um, social media is terrible.
Mhm.
It is terrible. I'll be honest with you. Like, there was a point where, she would post something on Instagram just to see if that one boy she likes is going to like that picture. And she could have
Well,
a hundred different hearts from everybody under the sun. But if he didn't like it, then it was the end of her day.
Guess what?
Or she would send a
Grown
message
women
on
do it too.
Snapchat. Or she would send a message on Snapchat. Oh, well, he opened it, but he hasn't responded. It's been like 5 minutes. I'm like, honey,
Grown women do it too.
it's not, it's like you said, Bryson, it's a blessing and a curse, or a gift and a curse, social media, because it's like we use it sometimes for the wrong purpose, looking for that volition, that to have other people make us feel valid, make us feel some type of way, when we really need to realize we don't need that. It's tough. It is really tough, but
It is tough.
but it does. I did see this, which was very crazy to me. About 55% of people who self-harm or self-injure have an eating disorder.
Interesting.
Wasn't that? I thought that was very
Interesting.
interesting.
See, that goes back to the conversation we were having. When we were mapping this out.
Yep.
How many things can be considered as self harm or
I
self
have that list right here
food?
because we were talking about it, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh man, we hit
yeah.
it
You
right
can
on the head."
consider food, as a tool of self harm or self injury. How about sex as a tool of self harm or self injury? What else?
hmm So, when it comes to the eating disorder piece, self-induced vomiting,
Mm,
laxative or diuretic misuse, excessive exercise. I was guilty of that.
mm,
Restricting, following a binge, and eating until the point of discomfort or pain. Those were
wow.
all listed as a type of self-injury in an eating disorder, not just cutting yourself, but those. And I was like, wow, you don't really, you're so into it. And that's what it said. It's an inadvertent method of self-harm, because the primary focus isn't about hurting yourself. It's about weight loss, or just having control of something in your life.
Mm,
Um, and then, when you look at it in the other spectrum of self-harm, you're like, wow, okay, not the first thing that comes to mind.
mhm.
Not the first thing. So looking at that, I was like, well, there you go.
How were you able to recover?
Well, I struggled with it in high school. I never got the proper care because, like I said, my family, and I was living with my mom at the time, and they just were not accepting of the fact that I had an eating disorder. They thought it was just for attention.
Mhm.
So I kind of just, I don't know, kind of pulled myself out of it, I guess. But then I relapsed again in my early 20s after I had Monica. She was not even 3 years old when I relapsed again. And that happened after my grandmother had gone into hospice for her Alzheimer's. So, it was like dealing with that, taking care of a toddler. I was making sure the toddler was fed. I was living
Mm,
off of pots of coffee a day. Every day I had a pot of
wow.
coffee. And I didn't know it. I didn't notice it because I thought, oh man, this was in my past. But people that would see me like every week, it was like, you're looking thinner and thinner and thinner. And I'm like, no, it's whatever. And then I finally went to a facility and got evaluated, and they put me in partial inpatient. So I got the proper care in the behavioral health facility. So I was partial inpatient for about a month and a half. And what that means is I was at this facility from 8:30 in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So basically a school day, if you will,
Mm,
while my toddler was at home with my mother-in-law, because, my husband's working, Vic was working, so he couldn't stay home with her. So for a month and a half of that time, and you got on the scale backwards. You could not know numbers. You couldn't know your weight. You couldn't know calories. You couldn't know fat, nothing. They gave you a meal plan. You had to eat everything. If you didn't eat 100% of your food after 2 times, you were going inpatient. If they had to supplement you with Ensure more than once or twice, you were going inpatient.
That is heavy. No
It
pun intended.
it was it was it was very heavy. It was very intense. But and the amount of like, girl, if I could tell you the amount of therapy you go through just in the one day, the therapy session, the group therapy sessions, the one-on-one with the psychiatrist, we peeled away at the layers to find out why I was really going through this. And it all
Mm,
stemmed from depression because
mm,
my grandma had just gone into hospice. And this was the woman who took care of me from when I was a baby until I was a teenager. And I just couldn't handle that. And the way I
how
could
long were you there?
control that. How long was I in the rehab? About a month and a half. And then once I graduated from the program, I had to still show that I was going to see a therapist on a regular basis, a nutritionist on a regular basis. They would not release me until I had appointments already set up, like for a few weeks at a time, not just like one
Mm,
and done. So I got the care that I needed. And, being in the program, there were a lot of college girls in the program with me. A lot of college girls, even some high school girls and boys. It's not just exclusive to females,
mhm,
and then a lot of overlapping. Some would come to our therapy sessions about their eating disorder, and then they'd go to a different group because they had another um, thing, whether it was alcohol abuse, substance abuse, self-injury, something like that. There was always an overlapping of stuff. And, that was what, 2008.
mm.
So it's been a while. It's
And
been what,
most people,
14
how
years?
many? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Gee.
But it's heavy. But you know what? The treatment was incredible, and I still to this day say that if I would have had that when I was in high school, I might not have relapsed as an adult
Mm,
because I would have known the proper coping methods and how to work through things. Um,
mm.
oh, you're welcome, Bryson.
Definitely,
Thank
definitely. And thank you for sharing.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine, and I don't know if it's just community, ethnicity. I don't know, but I don't know anybody who's ever experienced that or gone through that. At least not one that was talking about it. Overeaters, yeah. That I
Oh,
know. That's for sure. That's for
yeah.
sure.
No.
And
And
most hmm?
no. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking most young people who have been dealing with eating disorder. It's always a dual diagnosis. It's always eating disorder and depression, eating disorder
Hmm.
and substance use, eating
Yep.
disorder and something else. So it makes
Yep.
sense that they would
Yep.
have to break out into those different groups.
Was there? No. Thankfully, my mother-in-law was home. She was retired, or actually, yeah, it was. Yeah, she was retired because it was during winter. Um, no, she was on winter break. I'm sorry. Whew, wrong daughter. Yeah, either one. No, she was home from winter break, so she was able to help watch her for some of the time, most of the time. Vic was able to take a few days off here and there. So it was the one thing, and it's still, this kills me. I was the only one that was able to have their cell phone. They would not let us have our cell phones, but they knew I had a daughter at home. And I told them I need to be able to
Mm,
check on her. I need to be available. So they would allow me during our snack time to go and check on her in the morning. And there was one morning I did, and my mother-in-law's like, she's curled up on your side of the bed asking where you are. And it broke me. It
What was the
I
reasoning for that? Not having no contact with the outside world.
they exactly, they didn't want anything affecting your healing from the outside. Like
Mm,
8:30 to 3, it's their time. It's their time to work on you, to heal you, to get you better, to get you out. And if you have the outside world, it's
That
not going to
makes
help.
sense. I guess my first thought was, well, the more support, the better. But if you're living in a toxic environment, and if
Exactly.
your family is not supportive, then that would definitely be more harmful to you at that time. Okay.
All the support you needed was there.
Woo!
And I will tell
Wow.
you, my favorite therapy that we did was art therapy. I loved it. We could just, we were given all these mediums and you just create whatever you wanted. That was fun. We did art therapy. We did group therapy. We did yoga. They had so many different forms. It wasn't just everybody just sitting in a room in a circle talking their feelings out. That was just part of it. But then we did have to check in every morning. They gave us a form, and it said, did you engage in restricting? Did you binge and purge? They wanted to make sure, just to hold you accountable, and to make sure you're making the progress you're supposed to make. So it was intense, but
Sounds
I'm
like it.
glad we went through it. So
Wow. And so this was closing out Self Injury Awareness Month.
mhm. Yes, this was closing it
And
out.
eating disorder month was last month, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, National Eating Disorder
Okay.
Awareness Month. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and you know what? It's so again. I'll be transparent. When I was, when I first got there, and they make you eat, and you're restricting, and you're eating, you feel sick to your stomach.
I'm
Like
sure.
you want to, like, you know what I mean?
Especially if that's what you've been doing.
Well, I wasn't doing that. I just wasn't eating. But my body was so used to not eating that when I was putting food in it, it was like, oh, let's reject this. I never did, but that was the feeling.
Hmm.
So when we had to sit in group, and what was our high point for the day or our high point at lunch, like the little victory I had, and it was a few weeks out after I started, it was finally a lunch where I did not feel sick after I ate.
That's major.
And everybody would, and I sit in the group and I say that, and everyone started clapping because they all knew. And that was another great thing, is you're not alone.
Hmm.
We always think we're alone, and we're not. We don't, because we don't ask, we don't talk. That's why I talk, because there's other people out there struggling or going through something similar, and if you don't talk, they don't know that they're not alone. So
Absolutely.
having been in the group and realizing, oh my gosh, I'm not alone, there's other people that are going through the same thing, it was very comforting and healing at the same time.
Mhm.
you
That's what I
know
love so much about spaces like these and
Mhm.
podcasts, that people can sit at home and sip tea and listen to other people's stories and know they're not by themselves. You're not the only
Right.
one. And
Right.
get resources and get help and not feel stigmatized about what it
Right.
is that they're dealing with. There's so many of us. Um, 1 in 4 people live with or have experienced a mental health condition. 1 in 4.
Wow.
So let's see. One, two, three. Maurice is in the background. 4. There are 4 of us here. One of us,
I'll
has had
raise
has
my
had
hand.
to, well, all right, has had to deal with a mental health condition.
Yeah.
And that is that statistic. I remember when it used to be 1 in 5. Again,
Man, we're
we're
going
not
back
going in
backwards.
the
We're
right
going
direction.
back.
Used to be 1 in 5. Now it's one in
Oh my
four.
God.
But
Goodness
spaces
gracious.
like these give people hope.
Yeah,
You get hope. You can talk, you can
absolutely.
listen, you can get resources, you can get help. And
Yeah,
now there's so much available to us where you don't even have to leave the comfort of your home.
it's true. How long was your entire healing process? Oof. Well, as far as with the eating disorder and the restricting, probably I would say just about a year, because two, yeah, because we renewed our vows in the summer of 2009, and I got pregnant with my second daughter. Well, I had a miscarriage before um, I got pregnant for real, that January of 2010. So yeah, like a full year as far as like the restricting, because I knew once I was pregnant, I could not, it's one thing if I'm going to restrict on myself, but I'm not going to restrict on, what I'm growing inside me. That's to me, I will use the word selfish because that's what it would have been. It would have been selfish to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as the reasoning, the depression and the anxiety, that's something I still am just not dealing with, but living with, I will say. Just living with, but um, maintaining,
Mm-hmm.
maintaining through therapy and just, you know, trying to stay the course so that I don't. But now I realize that when I do fall by the wayside and I do feel like I'm falling into old habits, I know when I catch myself and then I talk about it and I stop because I was starting to fall down that path again a few months ago and I felt it. I brought it to Vic's attention and then I brought it to my doctor's attention because I'm like, I'm holding myself accountable. If I don't say it, then it's going to happen and then we're done for,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
That's
So,
definitely growth, and that awareness is so important. So where you can recognize it, you can acknowledge it, and you can be accountable for it at the same time.
mhm,
That's maturity. That's maturity.
yeah.
That's the level that we need to get to when we're taking care of ourselves.
Yep.
To
It's so
recognize I
true.
haven't been sleeping, I'm
Right.
not eating,
Yep.
I'm angry all the time, or I haven't left this room, and share that with somebody. It's why it's so important to have support systems. Having somebody
Absolutely.
safe where you can share it, like you shared it with Vic, having a doctor, you can share it with your therapist, your doctor, and have a
Hmm.
plan of action. Even more
Absolutely.
important. Where do we go from here? Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
Woo.
oof. Moving on to the next heavy thing.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be quick. Let me be quick with this. So we were talking
So,
about mental health conditions, statistics, and the fact that 1 in 4 people suffer. Where there are 7 million adults in the U.S. currently struggling with bipolar disorder. And yesterday was
that's
Bipolar
crazy.
Disorder Awareness Month. It is the sixth leading cause of disability in the world, not the US, the world. Number
Wow.
six, six leading cause of disability.
Wow.
And most people talk about bipolar disorder, they're referring to either bipolar one or bipolar two. Bipolar one, um, brings on full manic episodes. That's more likely, what's happening or occurring with bipolar one. Bipolar two, milder symptoms of mania, but severe depression. So,
Mm,
bipolar disorder is a mental health condition defined by periods of extreme mood disturbances that affect thoughts and behavior, intense emotion, changes in sleep and activity, uncharacteristic behavior, cycles of mania and depression within a few days or weeks. And these are cycles that last for several months. So, this is not something
mhm,
that's always present, but it comes and goes.
mhm.
It's always evolving there. A wide range of feelings from anger, hope, anxiety, happiness, and it can start early childhood or as late as in your 40s and 50s.
Wow.
That's something
Really?
that
To
I didn't
start?
know. It can start as late
Really?
as someone in their 40s or their 50s.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I did not either. But I do know people who live with bipolar disorder, and I have seen the cycles. I've
Mm,
seen the cycles. And I did not know until some years ago, even what mania was. The fact that you can be a manic, you can live with manic depression,
mhm,
meaning you have to go so much energy. So things have to get done now. You have to do them a certain way versus just being depressed. and
Mm.
not wanting to be active. So there's high activity, and then there's no activity.
Mm.
So I've watched people go through cycles of bipolar disorder and episodes,
Wow.
and not really know who I'm talking to. You know what I'm saying? Not really sure um, what to do in those situations. And it wasn't until I was an adult um, that I started to think that maybe, I had a family member um, who was dealing with some issues. And it wasn't until I was an adult, it's like, I'm pretty sure that would have been a bipolar diagnosis,
Hmm. Now,
but
do
we
you
don't
feel
get
that
that.
bipolar and multiple personality disorder can overlap a little?
I'm sure it can. I'm sure it can. In this particular circumstance, it would have been a dual diagnosis with bipolar disorder and substance use, alcoholism. Now they're calling it substance use versus substance abuse.
Really? Okay.
This is another new change in the last couple of years because um, abuse to be associated with what you choose as your coping mechanism.
Mm,
So now it's just substance use. It's another show. It's
it's
another
another
show.
show. We're just
But
writing
this
these. We're going to be
right,
just writing down these ideas
right.
now. So when we're meeting next month, be like, okay, so
Bryson, what were some of your own personal sides? I'm guessing this is back. This is for Crissy, Bryson.
um, guessing.
I'm
Um,
guessing
so, oh boy.
because
So,
you were talking about your awareness and how you were
what?
recognizing that you were spiraling or
Mm,
on that path. So tell us that.
yeah. Well, when I start reading the calories, the fat, when I start worrying about that, when I notice that I'm not eating as much on my plate as I normally would because I'm thinking about portion control,
Hmm.
you know, I intentionally make sure that I don't drink more than 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day, because when I start to do more than that, that's also not a good thing for me,
Okay, so more
because
coffee
that's
means less food.
correct,
Mm.
because that is where I started when I relapsed in 2008. I was drinking like pots of coffee, pots of coffee. But now I'm just like, I'm more conscientious. Like, okay, if I've already had my 2 cups, that's it. I'm not going to do more than that. But yes, I when I start reading late the calories, the fat, and I start to like look at food in a way that, I'll be honest, when I was going through this, I literally said to Vic, I hate food. I
Mm.
hate food and I don't want it. So it's hard. It's hard because you have to fall in love with food again, and I could not. So when I start to get that feeling again, when I look at food and I'm like, ugh, do I really want to eat that? And I'm thinking, ugh, what's it going to do to me? I go through all of these things in my head. And that's when I'm just like, okay, let's pump the brakes, because now we're heading down another path that we shouldn't be. So,
Mm. Absolutely.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's what.
Yes, Maurice. It is wild. I was sitting in a
And
training and they were talking about that, and I was like second row in the center, and my face was like, what do
what'd
you
you just
mean? We
say?
can't we can't say abuse anymore. You abusing your body,
Yeah.
right? It's abusing your body.
Yeah.
I don't know where the change comes from, or who it was geared towards besides the people that are using the substances. But yeah, that was pretty unbelievable to me. Um, but it's along the lines of us changing our language to be more inclusive or to not be stereotyping or
Hmm.
um, uh, I don't know. I'm thinking sex workers versus prostitutes.
Yeah.
These changes in language, are supposed to be more inclusive, and I don't know if that necessarily fits in a good change or a
Is
bad
I mean,
change.
is that to just kind of make it less like put less stigma to it? Is
That was the
the goal?
conversation in the
Mm,
training. Less stigma about it. Um, Kind of the same with when we talk about suicide and changing the language from changing the language from committed suicide to died by suicide,
mhm,
because committed
right.
is relative to a crime.
Hmm.
So
Right.
you don't want it to seem as if they committed a crime or they did something that was I can't even explain it further than that. But there's been so
Yeah.
many changes in the language that we use,
Mm,
in relation to mental health, in relation to all these other taboo topics, that are just supposed to be more inclusive and to sound like less of a stigma, or that we're not
mhm,
penalizing those that
right.
are experiencing or living with these
Right.
conditions.
Yeah. Oof.
That
Oh my God.
was hard. Oh my
So,
gosh.
can the use of alcohol substances trigger the onset of mental health concerns?
Yes. If you want to talk about suicide prevention, depression and substance use are the top two causes, or the top two contributing factors to suicide. So it is definitely contributing factors to other mental health conditions. Anytime you're putting a foreign substance in your body that does not naturally live there, you are changing the structure of your brain and other things that should be responding to the world in a certain way. Yes, it is definitely a trigger. Alcohol is a depressant all by itself. At some point there is uppers
Which
and
I
downers.
find
Ups and downers.
ironic. Which I find ironic that when someone's having a bad day or whatever, that's one of the first things they go to is I'm gonna have a drink. And it's like,
A
but
downer
you're it's a downer and you're gonna have another downer. But you have enough of that downer and you're feeling happy. It's
until
so
you
weird.
crash
Totally
and you're
crash.
and you're down for the day.
Yes. And the next day because you
And the
drank
next
too
day.
much.
And you don't
Right?
remember anything that happened during that time. Oh my
Oh, look
gosh.
at my husband. Love the
Thank
Mentali-Tea. So very
you.
homely. How proud I am of your strength and ability to check yourself before going to bed. Oh, thank you, honey. That's my
And this
husband, everybody.
this this face though. What is
Okay, so he's in school, and that's Rodney Dangerfield from Back to
I
School.
know what it
So
okay, there's a correlation
he
there.
started his new classes this week, and this was the first class on Tuesday. That's the look he got, like when the teacher was talking, and so he changed his profile picture. He's like, "That's how I feel right now."
Hilarious.
No,
Very
my husband.
homely. I love that word. Cause I mean this is me and Crissy on a Wednesday night anyway.
Seriously, it really
I might be
is.
in my kitchen, or I might be, on the couch with
In
some
VIP.
yarn, but this is me and Chrissy anyway.
Yeah,
That's why this
right.
was so perfect.
This is just like a
Oh my
regular
gosh.
day of the week for
It's
us.
what we're just having tea.
Hmm.
Mm.
How is your tea? Is it tasting
It's
delicious?
cold now, but it's
Yeah, it's turned
fine
into
because
iced tea over here,
it's
huh?
all right. I'll take iced tea, hot tea, Long Island tea. I told you yesterday. Pick hey, all teas matter.
All all
We'll
teas
take all
matter.
tea. All
I
teas matter.
mean, seriously.
Ooh,
We don't discriminate on our
we
tea.
do not. We do not. We do not.
Oh, goodness. Oh
Okay,
my
what we
gosh.
got over
So,
here?
and to add another thing about suicidalers, big watch faces turned inside to cover the wrist.
I have never
Mm,
heard that before. Big watch faces
interesting.
turn into. I have never heard that, Victor. Thank you. Thank you for adding that to the conversation. As long as I've studied suicide prevention, I've never heard anything about big watch faces. Long sleeves?
Oh,
Yes. But
big
oh
watch.
my gosh, wow! I don't even know people that wear
Interesting.
watches. You wear Fitbits. That might be something
And
specific to the
right,
male population for certain.
could be.
Absolutely, I know. I know that. I know.
No
I
offense, man.
know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Thank you, Butch.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Oh, I love that y'all are watching. Thank you so much
Well,
for
let's talk
watching us.
about
But
something a little more lively.
yes.
Since we're talking about
Yes.
self care, and because we're not gonna end the show on this note,
Right.
okay? So
No,
we're talking
absolutely
about self care, not being selfish. So we're gonna share, let's say, our top three self care tips, and I can kick it off. I'll kick it
not.
off.
Go for it. You're the queen
One,
of self-care. I'm
I,
just saying.
I'll gladly accept that
You really
crown.
are.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
My first tip would be set the scene. Set the scene. I'm a
Absolutely.
performer, so that's the
Hmm.
first way I thought about how to even formulate that idea. Set the scene. If you were in my house, and if you follow me on Instagram, every season there's a change that happens in this house. The candles, the decor, uh, uh, the flowers, the smell goods, the lights, everything gets changed around. Throw pillows, covers. I change the scene. It has to be a sanctuary in my
Hmm.
house when I come in here. When I walk in the house after work, I'm not stressed. Whatever happened at work, I get to leave outside. No, Vic, I get to leave it outside that door. There will not, no, there was a Valentine tree. There was a Valentine tree. It was right here. And I'm still kind of getting over the
Listen,
fact that this space is
we
empty.
went through this last year. We went through every month, and I'm like, okay, you could do it.
Nope,
This
not
theme, this
doing
theme.
it.
And
Not,
then she was
nope,
not
not
sold
doing
on
it.
it. She's
Not
like,
doing it.
nope, Valentine's as far as I go.
Nope. So last year, 2021, was the first year I did a Valentine tree. And I had been
Yes,
wanting to do a Valentine tree all my entire life.
and she did.
So I finally did it last year. And my mom came to visit, and she's like,
I love Mama
"Hey,
Mavis.
tree,
She's
you
great.
don't
She's
take that." I'm
great.
like, "Don't come over here when I'm not here, because I'll come home and it won't be nothing." But yeah, it set the scene. So your decor, your ambiance. This is the word I was looking for. Your ambiance. Set it up to where it feels like that. When I walk in my bathroom, it is a spa-like environment. When I get ready to go to bed, and that's my second tip is all about bedtime routines. But when I walk in my room, I'm the throw pillow. I have to take pillows off the bed to get in the bed. I don't care. It looks beautiful. When I walk in the door, my bed is like what's, what's the,
Come to me,
the
Mama.
Dave the
Let's
Dave
go.
Chappelle meme. That's my bed when I walk in that room. So having setting the scene, making sure your home is peaceful and it's a sanctuary for you. Number two would be bedtime routines. Having a routine. I don't. You just go get in the bed. Is that what you do? I got to have music
You-
on. I got to have certain lights on. I got my aromatherapy
I was
diffuser
gonna
that
say
comes
your
on.
aromatherapy.
I turn that thing on before I go brush my teeth and get ready. So when I come back in the room, it's already set,
And
and
she has
this is
different
my,
scents. And she has
oh my
different
gosh.
scents.
I change
It's like, what
every
scent are
week.
we doing tonight?
I change the scent when the water runs out. So this
Mhm.
week it's rose, which I'm not
Ooh,
I'm not, nope, I'm not
that's
that fond
a
of it. Not
that's
that
I
fond
don't
of it.
find that to be an aromatherapy one.
I'm
I
not,
mean,
but hey, I committed to
like
go
an
through every
aromatherapy.
oil in the box, and that's like the last three. I kept moving it down to the bottom. I tried to use just a little bit, but that's my rule. We're gonna listen. We're gonna smell this till the water run out, and then we'll put something else in there.
You turn
But
the thing up to high. Okay, water, can we run out a little faster on this
you already know, right? Like trying to get 4 days instead of six.
one?
And this is, and that's my Twitter time. Bryson Bryson
Let's know what
already know
happens.
about my Twitter time. My Twitter time. And in my Instagram time, let me laugh at the jokes of the day or whatever. I'm on the Bible app, I'm on the Calm app, I'm playing solitaire, and then it's lights out. It's lights out. So I got all of that. If I'm in the house, if I'm in the living room, I got candles up. It's
Oh,
a candle
Bryson,
in
what sense of your
every corner.
candles and incense? I'm interested because there's some incense that I love and I would love to burn more in the house. What are your scents that you love?
Yeah, drop
I
that.
drop
My
that. Drop those
my
flavors.
my third tip, because I'm a creative, will be use your creativity. So one of the things I started doing in 2020 was crocheting.
Yes.
I started crocheting in 2020,
Yes,
and I
I
started. Oh my gosh! And I started. I said I'm gonna make a scarf, and I started in October, and by December I had made 20 scarves.
did.
Crissy got 4 of them at our house.
I
I had
know.
20.
I know.
Bryson got a scarf. I had 20 scarves. But I started doing scarves, and I moved on to fingerless gloves, wrist warmers. I can make a blanket now. I can do cow necks.
Head wrap,
I can do
the
hair
earmuff
wraps.
head wrap
I
thing.
can
Yep.
do leg warmers, boot
Yep.
toppers. What you want? What you want? What you want? So my next
Seriously,
project,
anytime I would walk into a Hobby Lobby, I
hey,
put message her on video. Okay, look, here's
I
what they
need
got.
it.
What you
She's
want?
an enabler, such an
I was
enabler.
I'm such an
She was
enabler.
on. I
Absolutely.
was video shopping from another city. Get me this yarn. What color is that? Get real
What color is
close.
that?
Get real
Hold
close.
it closer. I can't.
Get real close. I can't see. But I started crocheting. If you are an artist and or creative, all my friends are creatives. All of them. I guess that's because they're my friends. I don't know. But
I mean,
if you produce shows, creative shows, start planning. If you are an actress, an actor, find a project, do something. If you're a writer, write. I wrote a book. I wrote my second book during the pandemic. What is it that you have to offer the world? Use those gifts. And that is a way to get out of your head. It's a
mhm.
major distraction from whatever that's going on. And it's something that's fruitful. It's something that's fruitful. So use your creativity. That's my third tip. I leave this on because it feels good now. That would be
It looks good.
that would be my third tip. I'm working on a hat, Chrissy. Chrissy
Oh man,
wanted
I
she
can't
wanted me to
wait.
do hats last year. And
Barack
I ain't making
Obama
no
one
hats.
that I
You're
love.
gonna get this
Also,
scarf and that's it. No, now I'm making hats. So hat and sweater are the next two projects.
I would love a hat. Sign me up
I
for a
guess.
hat. Let the
Fingerless,
let the producer know
talk
the
to
code.
me. Talk to me, Miss Prophet. Talk to me. I can get you what you need.
So Bryson, I'm sorry, I'm going back to Bryson's flavors. There's a Barack Obama one that well, I would love that one too. I mean, if I have my house smelling like Barack Obama, that would be
Barack
incredible.
Obama incense. We
I
sell
where are we
anything,
where are
don't
we
we?
finding that? Because I'm gonna get some like tomorrow.
Sell anything. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
White
patchouli.
sage, yes.
Man, white sage
Yes.
is great.
Yes, patchouli. Yes,
I am not sold on
white
patchouli.
spider.
I
Yes,
wish.
it gotta be. You
I
gotta
don't
put it
know
with
what it
something.
is.
Gotta put it with
You,
something. And
I
that's
guess
one thing I do
because
when I go through the whole box. Then I start remixing.
so you're
You
making
gotta
your
put
own little
that with some.
formulas
Oh
of.
yes, you gotta put that
Of
with
course,
some.
you have a
Ah,
Simmons scarf. Man, come on.
designed with love by Lori.
Right, right.
All right. So what's your
Oh,
top three?
oh God.
Top
I,
three
I,
self
I,
care tips.
all right. Well, so I turned a certain age in November, and so I decided I'm gonna.
Welcome.
Welcome. And so I decided I was gonna take better care of my skin on my face, because really I was just washing my face with Ivory soap at night,
Ain't
and
nothing wrong with Ivory. Ain't nothing
it
wrong with
wasn't
it.
no wrong, but I'm like, perhaps I should try to give a little more TLC. So, okay, thank you, Bryson.
Thank
Um,
you.
so I started adopting a skincare routine or whatever. So Sundays, particularly Sundays, what I like to do is a little extra spa skincare nourishment. So that's when I'll put on like a nice little mask. It's a avocado matcha green tea mask. It makes my
Okay, that
face
sounds like
great.
something to eat.
It's a nourishing mask, and you probably could eat it, but it makes me look like Shrek, but it feels fabulous. And I find just the little things that just make you feel good. Even when I go and get like my hair done, or like actually take care of myself, because there were so many years that I didn't, because I was too busy being mom.
Mm,
Like, my money's
talk
better well
about it.
spent on them. I don't need to go get my grays covered. I don't need to get my eyebrows done. So now I've started taking a little bit more care of me, because when I do that, it makes me feel good, like a little self-care with that. I started this new app, a bedtime routine. Oh my gosh, because let me tell you, sleep and I don't get along at
Mm,
all. Like, my
mhm.
issue is I could fall asleep, but I can't stay asleep. So like,
Mm.
and they want to give their opinions on it too.
They are so rude.
Garage door open, and they're like,
Fight,
"Who
fight.
home? I'm gonna." Yeah,
Oh, somebody's
I
home.
tried
Oh,
kicking
they
them
want to
out
know who's home.
before anyway. So okay, Callie, that's enough of you.
They talking back now.
Now she's talking back to me. So okay, all right,
She said,
enough.
"Stop telling her business." That's what she said.
I know. Like, you
Oh,
don't need
dear.
to tell everybody what you do at night, okay? Anyway, so I would not be able to stay asleep. So 3 o'clock in the morning, of course, what am I doing? Oh, hey, let's see what I can look at.
That.
And I'll fall asleep eventually. Next thing you know, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I found this app called Luna, Loona, and I tried it out, a free trial, and it works. Like, I will do it's called a sleepscape. So I did pay for the
Mm,
year subscription, and it was like $20 or whatever, because they give you a deal. Once you run out your free trial, they want to keep you. So you tell them no, I don't want to, and they'll send a deep discount. Pro tip. Um, so I started doing these sleepscapes, and they really, really help. Like, they have them, if you want to fall asleep faster, if you want to quiet your thoughts, if you want to have a restful sleep. And I've incorporated that into my bedtime routine, and I'm out. I sleep like
okay.
a rock. And in turn, that's going to help. Rest is so important for self-care, so important to just refresh,
Hmm.
to heal yourself from the day, to recharge.
Hmm. And burn calories.
Yes, that's also a great thing. But as someone who has had a eating disorder in the past, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about
So
that. No,
just like we don't
understood.
talk about Bruno, we don't talk about
Okay.
calories.
Repair your body. Yes.
I,
Okay,
s-
Bryson.
I still want to know why we don't talk about Bruno, but
I
that's
I
for
I, I watched it and I still don't know that.
I gotta watch it. I need to find out.
The
And then
Spotify. I'm writing them
my
down because we gonna post them.
the third self-care tip.
Yes. What is it?
Um yeah, I like kind of what you said, just like kind of take time for yourself to do what you are gifted with. Like, just taking that time, even if it's 20 minutes a day, just taking that
Mhm.
time for yourself to just be in your own moment and just enhance it. I signed up for a theater program through NYU online. So I'm using that as a way to kind of continue my journey in the theater arts.
And you just finished the production.
Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did. Mary Poppins. Oh my, that was fun. I haven't been in a musical since high school, so it was an experience.
Listen, y'all.
Exhausting.
Chrissy played a
Exhausting.
character. If you love Mary Poppins, you'd be devastated because this character
The
is a whole
musical,
nother character.
the
She,
musical is
she
nothing like
is
the
not
movie,
in
obviously.
there. She
Yeah.
was the nemesis. She was the anti-Poppin.
Oh yeah. I was
Anti-Poppin.
the anti Poppins.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness! And they had a battle, a song battle
Oh, it
on
was great.
stage. Oh my God,
I
that was
lost, but
the highlight of the entire production.
Thank you. You know what? I played the character. I'll kind of correlate this with mental health. I played the character who caused all of George Banks's mental health
Trauma. Oh,
trauma.
not just
I was
George
his
Banks,
childhood, not
because
just George
everybody
Banks.
who heard her name in the production, the
Called me the.
Holy Terror.
I was the
He was
childhood trauma
responsible
to
for
a
the
lot of
trauma.
people.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad I didn't
So
think of it while I was in the audience. Oh my. You were responsible for the childhood
I
trauma.
was responsible for all the
You
childhood
did
trauma.
not spell that out. Oh my goodness.
Wait, SUPERCALIF. Okay, so Bryson, I gotta tell you what. That was the most difficult song we had to learn. SUPRCALIFRAGILISTICEXPIALIDOCIOUS.
Why in
So
the
you
world were they spelling that word? I don't even know, but they did it. They did it. What I tell you, that wasn't in the movie. That wasn't in the
it
movie either.
wasn't.
So
And
much
that was
stuff
the
with it.
hardest song. That's the first song we started
Yes.
with. So our music director was smart. She's like,
They
we're gonna
need
start with
they needed to. They should have sent you that with the script. Yes.
yeah.
All right.
But those
So
are my 3 tips.
I love that we had one of the same with the bedtime routines. Especially because our next show is in May.
Which is
And one of the awareness months for May is Better Sleep Month.
oh, see,
Better Sleep Month. So I might have to be in the bed.
it is
But
mental. Mine is
I might ha-
right there.
I
We
might
can
have to
do
be in the
that.
bed for the next
Okay, so
show.
everybody just put your pajamas on,
Pajamas
be in your bed.
and
We're just
pillows
gonna yeah.
and tea in the bed. I feel like no, not bad at all,
No,
Bryson.
not
If
bad,
all
Bryson.
you missed was
Seriously,
one letter,
I was super impressed by that. I'm like, you
we
go,
weren't
girl,
even talking
because
about that.
man.
Oh my goodness.
um,
Yes, I think the show in May
yes.
for Better Sleep Month. I think I will be
It's
live
mental health
from
awareness
that.
month, better
It is
sleep month.
mental health awareness, yes. And there's a lot of chronic illness awareness for May. Lupus, Lyme disease, strokes, um,
Oof.
celiac. It was so much. It was so long of a list. But we're gonna be
Yes.
talking about mental health and we're gonna be talking about
Please.
sleep.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I've definitely grown to love my sleep. Yes.
Look, the
We take it
pandemic
for
taught me how to
granted.
get 8 hours.
We took it for granted as kids when they told us to take a nap. I'm like, we don't need a nap. Now as an adult, it's like, oh God, please give me a
I
nap.
need
Please. I need a nap.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah, I
something.
had a nap. I had a nap Sunday
Oh, how was it?
under my weighted blanket.
Yes.
Oh, we're gonna talk about sleep in May.
Oh yeah. We're
Oh,
gonna talk about
I
sleep in
had
May.
a nap and
Preview.
I purposely, because it was light outside. I mean, the sun was bright when I went in the room, and I purposely did not look at the clock. Listen,
Yes,
say
they
that.
are. I
Purposely did
love it.
not look at the clock, and when I woke up, it was dark outside. I
Ooh.
said, "Ooh, that was some good. That was a good nap right there."
Seriously.
I'm
Those weighted
hungry. I
blankets
woke
are
up hungry. Yes, because once you under the blanket, you ain't moving. You ain't
yeah.
moving.
You can't even if you wanted to.
You ain't moving. So
You're like,
we're gonna talk about better sleep and sleep aids and all kinds of stuff in
I
May.
love it.
In
I love
addition
it.
to talking about mental health and how we can help ourselves and help each
Absolutely.
other.
Yes. And we have a
Definitely.
watch list, right? We have
You gotta. I have a read
I
list, but
okay,
we
you
do
have
have a
a
watch list.
I have one.
One
I have
watch.
I have one.
Okay.
But you go first because your list is probably longer because I
No,
only have
it's
one.
not. Well, we talked about the social dilemma, which is on Netflix.
Mhm.
So if you have Netflix or have a friend with Netflix, hey friend, um, you can go and watch the social dilemma and pay very close attention when they're talking about social media and its effects on mental health. As
Mhm.
for my read list, this right here, this book was retitled. It used to be called The Caring Companion, and now it's
Mhm.
called How to Heal: A Guide
Okay.
for Caregivers. Um,
Mhm.
this is for people that take care of everybody. Yes, if you
Which
take care
is
of everybody, yeah, this right here,
got you covered.
Jeff Kane, MD.
Okay.
How to Heal used to be called The Caring Companion. And I went through like page by page because I had one from the library that I had for a long time, but I found this
Mhm.
one, and page by page, it is the same exact book, The Caring Companion. But this is excellent for those that take care of themselves. I mean, that are always taking care of other people. Compassion fatigue is a thing.
Oh, yes.
You're always taking care of everybody else and ignoring yourself or neglecting yourself. In
Mhm.
this self care is not selfish theme of the month, this is a good read for you. It's a good read for you. And if you can't find it online, I forget what website I found this on, but they do have the Caring Companion in the library. Now they've changed it to How to Heal, a guide for caregivers. So that's my watch list and read list. What you got, Christy?
So I only have a watch list, and this was a movie that, okay, I'm aging myself, y'all. So it came out in 1996. It was a TV movie on NBC. I was in high school, and this is when I was going through my first round with anorexia. The movie is called A Secret Between Friends, and it's based on two girls who are in high school. I believe they're going for the volleyball team, and they feel they needed to lose weight, so they both developed an eating disorder. But it's very powerful movie. My friend is actually the one in high school who's like, I need you to watch this movie, because if you're
Yeah.
not going to listen to me, watch this movie.
Wow. Now that's a
Because
friend.
I was like,
That's
I'm
a
not
friend.
starving myself. She's like, you almost passed out. You had to
Mm,
lean on my desk because you almost passed out. She's like, you need to watch this movie, and if you don't get help, I'm going to tell somebody.
that's a friend. That's a friend.
So
No
a
secrets.
secret a secret between friends is a great movie. Wonder Woman is in it, actually. Linda Carter. Yeah,
Okay.
Linda Carter, Wonder Woman. She plays one of the
Okay.
moms. So
You said
um
96, huh? You talk about dating yourself. I had already graduated from high school.
oh,
By then.
whatever, because you were
By then.
smart. You graduated when you
By
were
then.
younger. You
By
graduated
then.
before you were supposed to, because you're
Well,
smart. You jumped
uh,
you jumped a couple grades because you're
had I
smart.
not jumped, I'd have came out in 96. So either way it goes. Like you talking about some age over here.
But
Awesome. So
anyway.
those are our recommendations. You got two things to watch and something to read. We're gonna find some time and post these self-care tips
Mhm.
between now and the next show. Thank you, Bryson, for hanging out with us. Thank you, Felicitas. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Butch. Who else we got?
Martha popped in.
Martha, thank you, Martha.
I believe
We are just
Melissa popped
we're just
in.
glad. Yeah, we're glad to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us and having some tea. The next
Yes.
show date is what?
Oh,
Thursday,
May the see you
26th,
jumped
26th,
I ye bleh. Hold on, I'm in April. May
May 26th.
26th. Yes, May
May
26th. Thank you.
26th. That's right. Thursday, May
May
26th, 8 p.m. Same time. But we'll be in the bed.
yes. Yes. Oh, that's gonna be a fun, comfy show. And you know what? I'll have the puppies laying next to me because
We'll
they'll
be
keep them quiet.
in the
Better
bed.
control of your barks, girls. Better
Oh
control of the
my
bark.
goodness. Thank you. All right. Thank you for
All
joining
right,
us
guys.
for the
Thank you all. We
debut
love you. Thank you
of
for joining us.
Mentality.
Take care of yourself. Self care is not selfish.
It is mine.
It is not.
Don't be
So,
selfish though. But
yeah, but
yes.
don't be. Right. All right. We love y'all. Have a good
Awesome. Love
night.
y'all.